So coming back full circle to this hashtag that's happening on Twitter right now called Publishing Paid Me. And so authors are sharing how much they are being paid as an advance. I'm going to take another little sidestep and talk about advances. So what is an advance? Apparently, I like this story. Apparently, Darwin was the first person to get an advance for a book. So he'd been off traveling, visiting the Galapagos Islands and discovering things and being like, hey, humans, you came from monkeys. He'd written The Origin of Species and came back trying for like, okay, I've got this book, it's amazing. And all the publishing houses were super excited about it. This is like the 1850s, right? Super excited about it. They all wanted him to publish with them. So they camped outside his house and they're trying to get his attention and they're, you know, offering him all kinds of money. Then one publisher had the very smart idea of, well, they're all saying that once you sell a book, this is how much we'll pay you per book and whatever. What we'll do is we think you're going to sell X amount of books and we will give you the money in advance. So you don't even have to wait for the books to sell. That's how much faith we have in you. Say if we said that we'll give you £1 per book that you sell and we think you're going to sell 100 books. Obviously it's going to be more. We're keeping the numbers simple. So we're going to give you £100 up front. And if you sell those 100 books, then we'll give you X amount per additional book you sell. And those will be royalties. But for now, here's your advance. And Charles Darwin was like, this is awesome. I like money in advance. Give it to me now. So that was the publishing company he chose. So that's how the whole advance system works. I don't know if that's where it started, but I like that story. So yeah, so authors are sharing how much they are getting in advance. And usually this is super hush hush. Sometimes you have contracts that are like do not tell, like it's, you know, you'll be sued by your publishing company if you share the numbers. They don't want people to know how much that, you know, people are getting paid, because then people start asking questions. So authors are being transparent and they are sharing these numbers, and they are, woo, it's wild. It is wild, the disparities. So what we're kind of seeing is that there's all these white debut authors who are bringing out their first book, no track record, and they're getting like, you know, 100 and something grand, you know, US. It started with the US authors sharing, and today I've seen the UK authors starting to share too. And then you've got a black author who's got a track record, who's published like, you know, 6-10 books, whatever. Each one has sold really well, and they're getting maybe $40,000 as an advance. And it's like, what? Why the disparity? And it's just like, it's just, you just start to see the pattern. I was scrolling through yesterday and I was just like, authors that I know whose books, you know, got paltry advances, and people that I've never heard of who got these massive numbers. And did they sell all those books that the publishing company, you know, assumed that they would sell? I don't know. I feel like if they had, I'd have heard of their name, you know. And it matters. Again, it matters because if a publishing company says, you know, one, it's the faith that they have in you. They're like, we believe that you can sell this number of books, so we're going to give you $100,000 because we think you can sell a lot of books. Like, this book that you've given us, this manuscript, is amazing. So you feel like that's their confidence in you. But now that they have giving you $100,000, they want to make bloody well sure that you really will sell that number of books. So now they're going to put marketing budget behind you to make sure that there's posters, there's ads, that you're sending out advanced copies so that people can, you know, can review it and create a buzz and all this kind of stuff, because they want to make sure that they get a return on investment. So you're kind of almost helping to guarantee that that author is going to, you know, you're helping them raise their profile, get them out there, help them sell as many books as possible, because you have invested a lot of money in them. Whereas if you only gave them $15,000, you're like, nah, if we lose it, you know, whatever. So we're not going to put any marketing budget behind this author. So when you get a big advance, you're probably going to get a big push to go with it. And you also think about it from a, you know, from an author's perspective. So you're working a full-time job and you're trying to write, you've managed to finish this manuscript. If somebody gives you $100,000, you could say to yourself, maybe I'll take a year off and work on the next book. Maybe I'll go part-time. But if they give you $15,000, then you're like, okay, so I guess I'm still working full-time while I'm trying to write my next book. Like, it doesn't give you any breathing space. Like, the disparity, honestly, is rocking my world, and the conversation that's happening. So yeah, just, it's interesting. I'm glad that this discussion is happening. I hope that the transparency will encourage more conversation around it, and that it will create change, that publishing companies will just be called out on some of the stuff that they're doing, and they will have to justify why they're doing certain things, and, you know, and investing more in white authors than in black authors, and maybe having to justify that will encourage them to change their practices, so that, you know, so that black authors can get the same kind of support that white authors are getting. We will see. I will be watching. Yeah, there's so many things I could say about publishing. There's so many issues, and it's, like I said, it's important. We have to get it right, because it's the story of our world. I want to see books from people everywhere, and I want to see those stories told by the people authentically, not by somebody else telling, you know, I'll tell your story for you. This is who I think you are, told by those people. So let's hope that this moment really does create change, and we can actually make some progress and move forward. We'll see. Stay posted.